Monitor lizards, and especially Komodo dragons, can be ferocious beasts when they're hungry. Did you know a Komodo dragon can eat an entire baby buffalo alive? Have you seen a monitor lizard kill a stubborn animal? How gruesome can these lizards get? Keep watching, because you're about to see some truly horrific moments of Komodo dragons and other monitor lizards eating their prey alive. Here on this beach, you won't see volleyball or sandcastles. You'll see a bunch of Komodo dragons terrorizing a deer. This deer has been trapped in the middle of a Komodo dragon buffet with no way of getting out. The Komodo dragons bite it from all sides, ripping the deer apart as it continues to live in pain. You can see how easily the Komodo dragons are able to rip the deer's insides out. If you want inspiration to hit the gym, just check out a Komodo dragon's neck muscles. These strong muscles help the Komodo dragon pin down their prey as they eat. Komodo dragons can be very gruesome when they have to be. When they eat, they don't care if their prey is struggling. As we see here, this Komodo dragon is perfectly fine with eating a baby buffalo alive. The Komodo dragon pulls at its leg as it wails and tries to pull itself in the opposite direction. This Komodo dragon continues to bite at this buffalo's leg until it can no longer hold itself up. The baby buffalo is seen struggling to stand as the adult buffaloes come to check on it, unable to do anything to help rescue it from the hungry dragon. Soon, more Komodo dragons join in on this meal. They chomp at the buffalo's leg, all while it continues to cry and struggle. Their bite allows for deep slashes and is perfect for shredding flesh apart. You can see just how good they are at this as their faces get coated in blood. In our third clip, we check out a water monitor lizard attacking and consuming a huge rat. This water monitor gets thrown a live rat and quickly grabs at it, holding it in its powerful bite. The water monitor thrashes it around. While a water monitor attacks using only its mouth, it sometimes will use its feet to hold and move prey. This helps the water monitor to gain a bit more control over their prey. As we can see here, this water monitor is using its feet to help it move the rat around as it continues to pin it to the ground and attempt to eat it. When it eventually comes time for it, the water monitor needs to get the rat's head into its mouth perfectly to eat it, so it has to drag it around some. But this water monitor knew exactly how to do just that and is able to work the rat down its throat without too much fuss. A Komodo dragon may seem like a docile lizard, but it is a strong hunter. Just take a look at this clip. This Komodo dragon was able to hunt down a squirrel running through some bushes. Squirrels are fast, but a Komodo dragon can run up to 20 kilometers per hour, or about 12 miles per hour. Once this Komodo dragon caught up to it, it was game over. It held it in its mouth as the squirrel's tail just barely moved. It released its grip and began to eat. It chowed down on the squirrel's head first and tossed it up every once in a while to help it slide down its throat. Just look at that bushy tail sticking out of this Komodo dragon's mouth. What a sight. Not much is off limits for a monitor lizard in regards to diet. A savanna monitor is also able to eat snakes as long as it can win the battle first. It sticks its tongue out. This tongue works similar to a snake's tongue. By sticking it out towards the snake, this monitor lizard is able to pick up on the various smells and tastes around it. When it picks up on a scent chemical, it is able to analyze the chemicals using an organ on the roof of its mouth. This snake obviously passed the taste test because the monitor lizard wasted no time at all in attacking. It takes a bite of the snake and immediately starts thrashing it around. The monitor lizard starts consuming the snake head first, and while it does this, the snake continues to slither around. Now, how's that for a fresh meal? Komodo dragons have a special power, and that is their bite. These animals have a saliva that houses bacteria that could do severe damage to another animal. The Komodo dragon's bite is said to also contain toxins that could lower blood pressure and increase bleeding. This usually takes a while to set in, but when it does, it makes it easier for a Komodo dragon to eat their meals. This deer had been bitten just a few days before, and it is now suffering from the consequences. It is still alive but unable to move. This helps the Komodo dragon to start eating it right away without having to waste energy on a heavy fight. This Komodo dragon is eating right through the flesh of the deer, tearing away at the skin piece by bloody piece until it has carved a hole straight into the deer's guts. Another hungry Komodo dragon joins in and begins devouring the head of the struggling deer. Together, they're able to rip apart this poor deer, and they partly have their bite to thank. Monitor lizards sure can be persistent when it comes to catching their prey. In the wild, a next meal is never promised, so when the opportunity to hunt comes up, a monitor lizard will take it. In this clip, a field mouse is dropped into an enclosure with a savanna monitor lizard. The lizard catches it quickly and bites down, but the mouse gets away shortly afterwards. This lizard is not prepared to lose this delicious meal, so it goes after it. It catches it eventually and gives it another big bite. This mouse is pretty much finished. The monitor lizard secures its meal and starts devouring it, flattening and crushing its body in the process. Yum! Komodo dragons don't use the same tactics and techniques as many other big predators. As witnessed earlier, they usually let their mouths do the work, as we can see here in this clip. This Komodo dragon is holding a screeching live monkey in its mouth. Monkeys are agile and are able to move around and grab at things. Usually, this should give this monkey an advantage, but when faced with a Komodo dragon, it barely stands a chance. It drags it around a bit while holding it by the neck. This monkey is unable to move much at all due to the position it's in. The Komodo dragon is very patient and waits for the monkey to stop fighting so it can go on to eating it. Once the Komodo dragon's ready, it loosens its grip on the neck and moves down to the head. It pops it into its mouth and starts to eat it whole. Now this was a much-deserved meal. This monitor lizard was lucky enough to have a tasty black mouse get dropped into its tank. It grabs the mouse head first and begins to throw it around while holding it in its mouth. The mouse struggles, and you can even see it using its feet to try and free itself from the monitor lizard's jaws. But this is useless, as the monitor lizard's grasp is far too strong for this tiny rodent. The monitor continues to try and subdue the mouse, but it takes a bit of time to do so. It bites down hard and continues until blood starts to spill. Once this happens, the mouse quickly dies. The monitor holds it still, but then after a while longer, it proceeds to begin its meal. It scarfs it down head first, making sure to savor every last bit of it. This deer is already injured and being pursued by a hungry Komodo dragon. Since the deer is injured, it isn't too difficult for the Komodo to get the deer onto the ground. It bites at its leg, and once it's on the ground, the Komodo fights hard and grabs it by the neck. The deer hasn't given up just yet though. It remains on the ground but continues to try and fight the Komodo dragon. It uses its antlers to try and ram its head into it, attempting to injure the beast. The Komodo is unaffected by this thanks to its tough skin being made up of armored scales. The scales themselves contain osteoderms, which are basically small pieces of bone. This means the deer's fight is futile. It eventually gives up and watches as the Komodo dragon brutally eats it alive. How terrifying. In this next clip, watch as this Komodo dragon approaches a goat. The goat appears to be dead, but once the Komodo takes a bite, it begins wailing in pain and fear. The dragon is not bothered by this one bit. In fact, it may even excite it. It grabs it by the neck and quickly begins to shred this goat's flesh as it moves it around. The meal starts to get bloody as the Komodo dragon appears to snap the goat's neck, shoving it right into its mouth. Look at how it eats the goat. It swallows it whole in a way that is actually quite similar to a snake. A Komodo dragon has a loosely articulated jaw and flexible skull, which allows it to open its mouth wide to allow the entire goat to pass through. While a snake eats all of their meals whole, a Komodo dragon still has the option to tear their meals apart bit by bit. But when the animal is small enough, the Komodo dragon will usually opt to eat it whole. Why spend all that time ripping flesh apart? A meal this good cannot wait. This water monitor lizard is going to show you what happens when a lizard, like itself, is met with a live rabbit. When this rabbit is placed into this water monitor's enclosure, it's very clearly scared, and when it hops away, it only entices the water monitor more. This rabbit hopped all the way into the pool of water, and the water monitor stayed on its tail the entire time. The monitor dunked its head into the water to capture this rabbit. When it was able to successfully grab the rabbit, it pulled it right out of the water to finish the fight back on land. The water monitor holds the rabbit by the neck, and this is the best way to keep control of its prey and kill it quickly. The rabbit struggles, but it can't do much with the water monitor pinning it down. After a while, the water monitor takes the rabbit away to a corner. Some struggling, blood begins to spill, and that's when we know this rabbit is practically done for. The water monitor moves on from killing to eating after this successful battle. Here's another clip of a wonderful Komodo dragon hunt. This Komodo dragon has just spotted a group of monkeys and decides that it wants to have a little taste. As one of the monkeys approaches a tree and tries to flee, the Komodo dragon runs up and grabs it. It tosses the monkey around in the dirt quickly. It went ahead and started to eat it whole, head first. Komodo dragons love all kinds of meals, so it's no surprise that this Komodo dragon is eating an entire live pregnant deer. You can see the pain in the deer's eyes as it struggles to fight back. After a while, it eventually gives up and lays there as the Komodo dragon begins to tear it apart at the stomach. You can see the Komodo dragon excels in this thanks to its amazing teeth. A Komodo dragon's teeth are similar to a shark's teeth. They are serrated and can rip flesh open extremely easily. Look how easily this Komodo dragon does it. Its teeth dig into the deer's flesh and shred it apart, revealing her insides. After opening her up, a baby deer falls out of her stomach, and the Komodo dragon gobbles that right up as well. After a little while, a second Komodo dragon joins in on the delicious fun, and the two team up to eat this poor deer whole. Take a look at this clip of a monitor lizard in an enclosure with a huge bullfrog. Normally, bullfrogs are known to eat a large variety of prey. Bullfrogs will eat just about anything they can capture. Similarly, a monitor lizard has a very wide range of animals in their diet. So that means this encounter may end up in a fight for food. The monitor lizard sticks its tongue out to feel around and inspect the area and the bullfrog. The bullfrog stands up tall, a position that shows it is ready to pounce. In a move showing off its bravery, the frog leaps right towards the monitor lizard's face. The monitor lizard amazingly catches the bullfrog in its mouth and bites down with its sharp teeth. It takes the bullfrog around the enclosure while the bullfrog struggles with the decision it has made. After getting most of the bullfrog's face in its mouth, this monitor lizard continues to consume it whole. Now that was a meal that this monitor lizard barely had to work for. Now that we know a Komodo dragon has a venomous bite, we can see how bad it can affect their prey. This wild boar lays on the ground, breathing heavily. It is unable to move because the venom from the Komodo dragon's bite in the days prior has essentially paralyzed it. Since the boar is already laying on the ground and unable to move, this Komodo dragon decides to relax and take its time to enjoy its meal. It starts out by sniffing around and finding a good spot to start on. After sending the boar into a paralyzed panic, it decides to go right for the good stuff and digs a hole into the boar's stomach. This sends the boar into a deeper panic, and it squeals and tries its hardest to move around. But the Komodo dragon doesn't even mind and continues on with its task. Eventually, as the Komodo dragon eats, the boar dies from its extreme injuries. What you see in this clip is a goanna. The goanna is a type of monitor lizard, and just like any other monitor lizard, this one is gonna do just about anything to get a good meal. This goanna is deep in a hole in the middle of a golf course. You can tell by its frantic movements that it found something worth the effort. This goanna has caught a rabbit and immediately begins to consume it. The goanna eats it fast. I guess you can say that meal was on par. This Komodo dragon is in a heated battle with a monkey. Actually, it isn't much of a battle since the Komodo dragon is in complete control and the monkey is surely going to lose. So, to reward that, this Komodo dragon is prepping its next meal. It does so by holding this struggling monkey on the ground. The Komodo dragon's teeth help to rip into flesh, but it also helps to grip prey and prevent them from coming loose. This monkey tries its hardest to get the Komodo dragon to let go using its hands and feet, but the Komodo dragon has already won. Even if the monkey gets loose, it would eventually die from the effects from the bite of the Komodo dragon. The fight was basically over as soon as it started. It has very little to do with this monkey, and just as soon as it starts to die, the Komodo dragon tears right into his fleshy neck. Once the blood starts to show, the Komodo dragon is just about ready to eat. When this rabbit is thrown at the water monitor, the lizard grabs at it immediately. And why wait? The opportunity is there, so grab it. This water monitor takes the rabbit in its mouth and starts to smash it against the ground and the edge of the pool of water. Look at how violent the water monitor can get. The water monitor drags the rabbit around, adjusting it so it can get a good grip on its head. It doesn't wait to make sure the rabbit is dead. It starts to consume the rabbit head first, and once it takes the first bite, it lets the rabbit slide right down its throat. It seems to struggle a bit with fitting the entire rabbit in its mouth, but by rubbing it a bit on the ground, this water monitor is able to fix the issue. Now that was a quick meal. Here, we see an Asian water monitor snacking on something live. A closer inspection helps us to see it is eating a live fish. The fish moves around and makes a big mess, leaving mud all over the water monitor's face. This water monitor seems to be having quite an easy ride eating this fish, but the fish sure isn't having a good time. Watch as the water monitor takes the fish and eats it whole. The sliminess and slithering of the fish helps it to slide its way right down the water monitor's throat. Delicious! Komodo dragons can perform the most brutal acts when hungry. Take a look at this clip for proof. This Komodo dragon is attacking an injured buffalo, and the buffalo is unable to move. That doesn't stop the Komodo dragon. It doesn't even slow it down. The Komodo dragon bites at this buffalo's face as it cries in pain, completely helpless. This Komodo dragon seems to be taking on quite a large meal, but that isn't unusual for this large lizard. In fact, the Komodo dragon's body is made for these kinds of meals. A Komodo dragon actually can utilize their expandable stomachs to allow for the bigger meal. That may leave the dragon feeling extra full, but it also allows them to absorb all of the nutrients they need to survive until their next meal. The Komodo eventually walks away, but since it has an infectious bite, this buffalo won't last long and will most likely end up as leftovers. Your parents might have told you to clean up your mess at the dinner table, but it seems this water monitor didn't get the memo. What we see here is a water monitor attacking a rat. You would expect the rat to be dead with the way the big lizard is pinning it down, but every time the water monitor moves, you can see that the rat is still very much alive. The water monitor creates a huge gash on the rat's neck, making this a very messy meal. The blood of the rat goes everywhere, and the monitor lizard finally decides to eat the rat whole. Watch as the water monitor tosses it up to get it to slide nicely down its neck. It eats it tail first, so you can watch the rat's face as it slowly but surely falls right into the water monitor's throat. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these two videos on your screen. We'll see you there.